Imagine proving something true, watching the evidence pile up in front of you, and still being told to shut up because it made powerful people uncomfortable. That was the reality for Galileo Galilei, and strangely, his story feels more relevant now than ever. Because today, people still do the same thing, not with telescopes and churches perhaps, but with politics, ideologies, social media tribes, and online echo chambers. People decide what they want to believe first, then they search for evidence afterward. Galileo challenged one of the biggest assumptions of his time, the belief that Earth sat motionless at the center of the universe. For centuries, this idea was treated almost like unquestionable truth. Then Galileo pointed a telescope at the sky and noticed things that didn't fit the story. Moons orbiting Jupiter, phases of Venus, movements that suggested Earth was not actually the center of everything. And here's what made Galileo dangerous: he didn't just have opinions, he had observations. That distinction matters enormously. Anyone can have beliefs. Critical thinking begins when you ask whether reality agrees with them. Galileo trusted evidence more than authority. That sounds obvious today, but at the time it was revolutionary. Because humans are naturally tempted to protect comforting ideas instead of testing them. You can see this everywhere now. People ignore data because it clashes with identity. Arguments become emotional competitions instead of searches for truth. Being right matters more than actually understanding reality. Galileo's approach was different. He observed carefully, tested repeatedly, questioned assumptions, and he followed evidence even when it became inconvenient. That is basically the foundation of the scientific method, not blind skepticism, not blind belief either. A willingness to update your worldview when reality disagrees with you. And honestly, that mindset is useful far beyond science. If your business strategy isn't working, reality is giving feedback. If your habits keep producing bad outcomes, reality is giving feedback. If everyone around you keeps pointing out the same flaw, reality may be trying to humble you a little. The mature response is not defensiveness, it's curiosity. Galileo also teaches another important lesson: truth does not automatically win just because it is true. People assume evidence changes minds easily. History says otherwise. Humans are emotional creatures first and rational creatures second. That's why new ideas often face resistance before acceptance. Not because they are wrong, but because they threaten existing power, identity, or comfort. This is why critical thinking requires courage, not just intelligence. Courage to question the crowd, courage to admit you were wrong, courage to prioritize truth over ego. And ironically, Galileo himself was not perfect. He could be arrogant and confrontational. That's another useful reminder: being correct does not automatically make you persuasive. The deeper lesson from Galileo's fight is not simply, science beat religion. It's that progress begins when people become willing to question inherited assumptions. That applies to societies, and it applies to your own life too. Because sometimes the biggest thing holding you back is not lack of ability. It's an old belief you never bothered to examine closely.